Hi, and welcome back to our kitchen. I'm really excited today because I'm going to make for you a pineapple upside down cupcake. Not cake, cupcake. And it's gluten-free. And the reason behind that is any of you that are gluten-free and have to eat up everything before it gets all hard and dry. What we do is, because there's just the two of us, we don't make a cake. We make cupcakes, and then we eat a few, and then we put the rest in the freezer. And then you grab it, you thaw it out on the counter, and you have breakfast. So maybe it's not the healthiest breakfast, I don't know. But what we're going to do is I'm using a gluten-free Betty Crocker yellow cake mix. Now I was going to try to make the whole thing homemade, but I just couldn't get the ingredients together. So I'm looking at my cat. So here we have the cake mix in a bowl, and I'm going to plug in my mixer. And the cake mix, we're going to follow the directions except for one thing. It calls for a 3/4 of a cup of, it's 1/3 cup of butter. Now here we have a plant-based, dairy-free butter that's 1:1, and it calls for 3/4 of a cup of water. I'm using pineapple juice. This will give the whole cake mix the pineapple flavor. And it calls for 2 eggs. These are room temperature eggs that I've beaten up. And I'm going to start mixing this up. Okay, the reason we're doing the cake mix first is because gluten-free flours need to sit for at least 20 minutes to absorb the liquid. And it calls for 2 teaspoons of vanilla. I'm going to do a teaspoon of vanilla. I could use the cap, I think. I think the cap is a teaspoon. And then I'm going to, instead of doing the second vanilla, I'm going to do a orange extract that I just got all over myself. I'm going to do a teaspoon of that. I'm a rebel. I can't help myself. Okay, I'm going to mix this all up, and we're going to sit it to the side, and I'll be back to show you what we're going to do. Okay, we have our oven on 350. I've got a regular cupcake pan here. A lot of the recipes for these kind of cupcakes call for the large muffin tins, but I don't have one. So I'm just going to have to use this. And the reason they want you to do that is because of trying to get all the fruit and everything in here. So here I have 1/4 cup of plant butter, dairy-free, and 2/3 cup of brown sugar. Probably won't use all this, but I'm going to put some of the brown sugar and butter on the bottom here. I also added a teaspoon of cinnamon to this batch, and a 1/2 teaspoon of ginger. You put that on the bottom, spread it out. I've sprayed this really good with the cooking oil because we're not going to put these in the cupcake liners, because of the fruit will make the liners all soggy. And like I say, when these are done, we have a couple with gluten-free. If you leave them out, they will get hard and, well, they're just not pleasant to eat, crumbly. So the more you freeze gluten-free bakery goods, the better. And that way you can just take out what you have left, sit them on the counter. If the grandkids come over, they can have a treat. Putting about a tablespoon in here. Might have put too much in some of them. That's easy to fix. Because what you do is you go back to the ones that have a little bit more in them and just put them in the cupcake pan to make sure that everything's even. I am using up this thing. Okay, I have one left, and I'll go back to the ones that have more than the others. Take about a quarter of a teaspoon out of each one. Won't hurt anything. And then we'll have 12. Just go back and smooth the ones you took out, some of it. Okay, get this last little bit in here. I have here, this is actually fresh pineapple. I bought a fresh pineapple at the store, and I had to use it up before it went bad because of the warm weather. And so I chopped it up, and it's in pieces, and we're going to put that in the pan. Put it back in a minute. I'll show you to put the cherries in. Okay, I'm ready to put the cherries in. These are cherries I got at Walmart. It's their Great Value brand, and they're called cocktail cherries. There's no stems on these. I'm going to try to fit this cherry down in there. If I don't, I'll just lay it on top. What does it matter? It's all going to the same place, which is your stomach, right? So yeah, I'm just going to lay them on top like this because the batter's going to cover it. And the juice of the cherries left over in your jar work really well in other recipes. These are dark. These are the real good ones. And then I have a 1/3 cup measuring cup that I sprayed with the cooking oil that I'm going to use. And this is going to fill up our cupcake pans. Our batter's been sitting. Just eyeball it. You don't want to go over the top. Sort of like that. And the reason you can fill these more than the other cupcakes that have gluten in them is because these don't rise as much as gluten cupcakes. But that's okay. Just cover that cherry with your batter. And the pineapple and the brown sugar. Oh my goodness, it sounds so delicious. Again, when you do this, if you see that one doesn't have enough and another one has too much, just get yourself a spoon and start distributing the overage on the one. I'm going to finish this up and put them in the oven. And it bakes for 20 to 25 minutes. And you know the trick where you stick a toothpick in it to see if there's any wet batter still in your cupcake. If it comes out clean, then you're good. So we're going to do that, and I'll be back. Okay, I took them out of the oven, and they've been resting 10 minutes. Now, they're still warm, but you want to take a knife and go around the edges, because we're going to try to flip these out. Wish me luck. This might be pretty comical. I'm just kind of going around until basically the muffin cupcake starts moving around on its own. I stuck a toothpick in it when it was done. There was no wet batter on it. So then that meant that they were done. I baked them for 21 minutes. Did I get them all? As you know, I'm not a baker. Okay, I've got a rack here that they've been resting on or cooling off. I'm going to put the rack on top and flip this thing. Wish me luck. Here goes. 1, 2, 3. Well, almost a disaster, but we did get some out, and I'm going to plate them up, and then I'll be back to taste one for you. Okay, we made it. I was really happy with that. I did get something done here today, and you can't really see the cherries because of the fact that I couldn't get them down in there, but they're in here. They're going to be a surprise in the middle. So let me take a bite for you. This is so good. Of course, being gluten-free, I'm not a real big sweet eater, and I don't get desserts very often because nobody makes gluten-free in the restaurants or anything like that. So this is a real treat. Hope you try this. I know your kids are going to love it. Your husband's really going to love it. And just remember to subscribe to my channel. Push that bell so you can see my upcoming videos. And support your local businesses. Bye!